Hey, know how you always show up when I whistle? How's that work exactly?
Well, you're my human. Gotta be there when you need me. Yes, I'll be there for you, as the world falls down.
Still kinda strange. How you cross the ocean when I call sometimes, but then get hung up on the tiniest fence. What's that about?
What can I say? Everyone's got limits.
Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the video game podcast PlayStation Pals. I'm your host Nick, and I'm joined by the roach to my Geralt, John. John, we're in the middle of Fimbulwinter.
Damn it, I was just going to say that. Damn it.
It's slightly snowing outside where we're at, and the year is winding up, but that's kind of exciting because we get to kind of do a wrap up of this year and then look into next year. But how you feeling? You feeling good about talking about video games today?
Yeah, man. This is as dreary and cold and shitty as it is outside, this is the time for the video gamers to shine, man. This is where we lock ourselves in the basement, get cozy, and try and get a lot of those games that we were too busy to get to in the summer done. So I'm feeling good, man. I'm a snow kind of guy. I like the winter, playing through Ragnarok. I feel comfy. I feel like I'm where I need to be.
Yeah, nothing to keep you warm but snuggling with Kratos.
And
big, strong arms.
Yes.
Covered in the ash of his family.
Ooh. I mean, yeah, I guess so.
All right, well, we have a lot to get to today as we're moving back to the format of the show after the Ragnarok hangover, even though we're still in the thick of it. Mm-hmm. So this is how the format works. We each bring 3 things to talk about. It can be a game we're playing, a news item, a topic, an email to PlayStationPalsPod@gmail.com, and a Twitter DM at PSPalsPod.
Is that going to be around for much longer, though? From what I hear, Twitter's going under, so
yeah.
Might need to...
for now.
So if we have any software developers out there, make an app now, and you might be the next,
Yeah, so...
Twitter guy.
So, yeah, we'll see how long that's up. But, yeah, the email will be there. I don't think anything's happened to Google just yet.
No.
So, let's kick things off. I wanted to start with the Game Awards for 2022. If you're unfamiliar with this is the event Jeff Keighley has held for a very long time, years and years and years. I always like it because it takes place around my birthday. A nice little birthday present to me is a celebration of video games. This year's is going to take place December 8th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And John, what are your overall thoughts on the Game Awards as an event?
I think as an event, it's only gotten better. It really is an event that's in its infancy, even though it's going on its 8th, 9th year. I don't know if you just already said that, but it's been around for probably I think the first game of the year was, from what I can remember, was Dragon Age, right? And I think that was 2014.
Well, it's existed on Spike TV for a long time.
Sure.
But since he's taken it over,
in the big production format. So I think it's a cool event. It adds a little bit of credibility to our industry that, shocker, it makes more money than the movie or TV industry. So it makes sense that there's a Game Awards, event like this. But I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff, man. If the viewers and listeners out there haven't already figured out, I like lists. I like ranking things. I like, knowing who the objective winner of things is, even though we know obviously none of this is objective. But I'm excited. I like to just kind of get the industry together. Obviously, Keighley has just been ramping up with more and more and more cool announcements and things that are kind of sprinkled in throughout. So man, I'm excited. I have no reason to think that this year won't be anything except for pretty good. Unless if the trend of horrible showcases continues into this, we'll see. But I'm feeling pretty hopeful about it.
Well, yeah, if it could be horrible on the announcement front, even though I think next year is stacked, as we've talked about with all the Sony stuff that hasn't been announced, PlayStation VR 2, Xbox finally having first-party games next year.
Well, and there's a lot of games, too, that are just going to need their, kind of blowout trailer, whether it's Tears of the Kingdom. Resident Evil 4 kind of got its big one, but Silent Hill 2 could get a big one. There's some There's some stuff out there that needs a little
but
more.
even if they don't have the announcements, it's always cool because he has a live orchestra playing all the soundtracks to all the games of the year, and that's usually great. And then we get to see not only all the developers, which is always interesting to see them live on stage, as also all the voice actors. I'm sure Christopher Judge, Ashley Birch, they're all going to be there presenting. So that's always been exciting, and it's overall a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So definitely view it. If you're kind of new to the video game space, I doubt anybody listening is, being that it'd be an honor to be your first video game podcast, but I doubt it. It's not just they're not just going to go. It's not Oscar style, where it's just award presenter. They're going to have a lot of fun things in between. So definitely don't miss it.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour long event, so there's going to be a lot in there. Jeff Keighley has released the categories and nominees for each of these categories. These nominees are determined by over 100 different outlets, from your Kotakus to your IGNs to your Eurogamers, Game Informer, all of those above kind of all vote for the nominees, and I believe that the top ones are picked. So there are 31 categories, but we're only going to go through 5 of them. We don't need to go through esports, best RPG, best narrative. A lot of these categories kind of meld together. The same. All the game of the years are probably pretty much in every other category. It is interesting to note God of War is leading all nominations with 10.
Yep.
So God of War is looking to have a great time here.
And one quick thing before we jump into the discussion here, Nick. Also, if you are somebody who kind of does care about the winners, I'm shamelessly one of those myself, but you do have the ability to go to
thegameawards.com.
thegameawards.com and vote yourself, which will determine the winners. The outlets basically decided the nominees, and I believe, is it entirely user based that determines the winner, or is it like a split thing?
I think it's both.
It's like a split thing. So get your votes in there though. It's fun, it's quick, it takes 5-10 minutes, and then you can just get a little more absorbed in it.
Yeah. So I handpicked 5 categories to talk about that I thought were the most interesting. So we'll go through those and see what we think in our prediction. So the first one is a new category for this year. It is Best Adaptation. This is a video game being moved to another medium, whether it's a movie or a television show. Like as we've talked about with HBO's The Last of Us, that would be a entry into this, and certainly will be next year. But this is the list they have. They have Arcane League of Legends, which it seems like that was last year. Was that this year?
If anything, it was early this year. While you're reading the rest, I'll try and look at the release.
Cyberpunk Edge Runners, the anime that I talked about on the show. The Cuphead Show, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Uncharted.
Okay. It was last year. Last October was when it aired, or November 6th. So it must have just hit a cutoff or something.
Yeah, it was released in multiple parts, so maybe it just kind of leaked over a little bit, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, in my opinion, Arcane is the lead runner in all these. Saying I haven't seen the Cuphead Show, I haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But out of the rest, I did like Arcane the most.
What did you like about it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't play League of Legends, but it's one of the most beautiful looking shows. And it tried to really tap into what a lot of shows are now, that kind of Game of Thrones unpredictedness. Anyone can die. It's all on the table. And it was told in kind of arcs similar to Andor is right now. And it was a solid show, even as someone, like I said, it had a great voice cast. It had what's-her-face, the female Hawkeye.
Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah,
my girl.
Haley Steinfeld.
My girl, Haley.
Haley Steinfeld in it. Yeah, it had a great voice cast, and like I said, definitely my favorite of these that I've seen.
Do you feel like you were, while watching it, do you feel like you were missing out on anything due to not having a League of Legends background, or it did a pretty good job of just kind of keeping you in there?
There's not a chance in hell I'd ever play League of Legends.
No, we're stopping this podcast immediately if you pick up League of Legends, because I will question everything about you.
Not even, maybe something, another property, but not this one. Nothing will get me into a MMORPG. So
okay, all right. So Arcane, what else we got?
Do you want to move on to the next category?
No, I mean, so I haven't seen any of these.
So moving on.
Well, so yeah, just my quick thoughts. I've seen half of Uncharted. It was fine. I was watching with my son. He had to go to bed. I decided never to pick it back up. So I'm sure it's fine. It made money, but I don't see that winning. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I see having a chance at it. Just based on popularity, being better than people expect. I think we'll give it a decent amount of votes, and also I think it probably was seen by the most amount of people. Either that or Cyberpunk maybe, but I think it's between Arcane, Cyberpunk, and Sonic. Those three, I could see any of those three winning, honestly. Because I know you weren't high on Cyberpunk, Nick, but honestly, you're the only person I've talked to that didn't like it. So
yeah, the internet loved it. Other people we knew liked it.
Yeah, so. Could see any of those three.
I do like that the category exists now. Like this is going to happen more and more. It seems video games is the next, especially like with Netflix.
We're getting a Twisted Metal show.
Yeah.
We're getting a Horizon show. We're getting a Ghost of Tsushima movie. We're getting a Last of Us show, and that's just Sony.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
It's smart to bring this up now and have it in the Game Awards. So.
Yep.
All right, moving on is to the most anticipated game of 2023. So looking into the future here. And the nominees are Final Fantasy XVI, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4, Starfield, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, we know what is going to win.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single thing that could beat that.
Yeah, Zelda is
Elden Ring 2 maybe.
Like if there was
if there was like a Breath of the Wild 2 versus an Elden Ring 2, you might see a different winner, but
well, if there's DLC to Elden Ring, I mean that's very likely to be at the Game Awards.
That's true. But yeah, I mean this is I like this category a lot. I mean, it just builds hype. It just gets you excited for what's to come. And this is a pretty strong list of 5 games. I mean, there's arguably... I just kind of looked up a couple games that didn't make the list, and I think there's 3 other games that maybe you could throw on here. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth being one of them. That is confirmed for next winter, so they might not include it because that could be... that could be...
I'll bet you that's not next winter.
No, I agree. I would imagine that game is coming out early 2024, but it does have a winter 2023 thing. So there's that one. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League is another. Rocksteady game is only it's going to be amazing, and then Diablo 4 would be the other one.
Yeah.
But I know we don't have a date on that either, so that might have been why they left it off. But what do you think? Like if Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom gets upset, what is it getting upset by?
In this list?
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4? I can see Final Fantasy 16 making a run at it too, but not beating Breath of the Wild. But Resident Evil 4, people are pretty hungry.
Yeah, it's just that obviously Final Fantasy is a known franchise, but but the game itself from game to game is always different, and the quality is always different.
Right.
So there's ups and downs.
And 15 wasn't. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah, ups and downs within this franchise. So I don't think like people would. People like Resident Evil 4 is a very known quality. Legend of Zelda is a very known quality game. So
Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild is IGN's #1 game of all time. So how could it not be?
Yeah. So without a doubt, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is going to win.
Yep. I would agree.
And I wouldn't be shocked if that accompanies a new trailer for the game too.
Yes. We have a firm release date on that, right? It's like May 28th, somewhere middle of May. Okay.
Yeah, cool. They announced that at the last Nintendo showcase.
Cool beans.
All right. So moving on, the next one is Best Indie. And we have these. Cult of the Lamb, Neon White, Sifu, Stray, and Tunic. And I know we both only played one of these games, which is Stray.
Yeah.
Because that was free with the PlayStation Plus extra tier. And I know we both really wanted to play Neon White and Cult of the Lamb.
I have refrained from buying this game on my Switch at least 15 times. Yeah, because I'm still, I believe this game will come to other systems at some point.
Mark it 16 when it's on sale for Black Friday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I always love the indie games. I mean, those are, I love God of War. I love Horizon. Of course, I'm going to play these games, but I feel like the indie space is where I get my most enjoyment from games because it comes without expectations, and you sometimes find hidden gems like Hades, or any game by Supergiant, honestly. But Binding of Isaac, things like that. These are turn into my favorite games of all time. So, what's your pick here, Nick? What do you think's gonna win?
Not to get ahead, but one of these games is going to be nominated for Game of the Year. That game is Stray. So I think it's going to be Stray. It was the talk of the internet. Even though it's not a mind-blowing game, it is a very well-crafted game and a very short in and out, and it's very pretty. And the internet loves cats. So.
Yeah, I agree, unfortunately. If you watch enough of these shows, you kind of start to pick up that if there's a game that gets nominated for something and it doesn't win a bunch, it's going to win if it's nominated in a category with none of those other big things, it will win. So like Nick said, Stray being a best game of the year nominee, it's probably going to win this one. But I don't think it should, and that's even, like Nick said, I've only played Stray. Just from what I've seen from Tunic and Cult of Lamb and Neon White and even Sifu to an extent, just seemed like there was much more of an actual fun experience. Stray was fine. It was entirely fine. I don't remember much of it at all. I remember walking around the same city and trying to find little robots that needed to direct me to do the next thing. But and annoying those dumb head crabs.
Yeah. Or
avoiding those. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not very high on Stray, folks. So. But yeah, it'll win.
Regardless, yeah, it is most likely going to win.
Yep.
And then moving on, we have Best Performance. This is by a voice actor in a game. We have Ashley Burch nominated as Aloy in Horizon Forbidden West. We have Charlotte McBurney, who played Amicia in A Plague Tale Requiem. We have Christopher Judge, our big boy Kratos from God of War Ragnarok. We have Manon Gage from Immortality. And we have Sonny Suljic, our boy Atreus from God of War Ragnarok. And I'm just instantly going to point out, as I mentioned last week, that Danielle Basutti should have been nominated for Freya, but I guess.
think they probably were like, well, we can't have 60% of the category taken up by one game. But
well, and to be fair, neither John or I have beaten God of War Ragnarok, so we. And even last night, there was some good Atreus Kratos stuff. So
okay, so that's what I was about to say. Is I haven't gotten to the point in the game yet where I feel like Atreus has really done anything more than just kind of be serviceable. Mm-hmm. But obviously, emotions are going to get high towards the climax of the story. So I'm sure it's there. Yeah. But this is Christopher Judge all day. I think. Again, when you can kind of combine the fact that these award shows have memories and the fact that he lost to Arthur Morgan.
I was going to ask. I forgot who had won.
He lost to Arthur Morgan. I can't remember the actor's name from Red Dead 2.
That's fine. Arthur Morgan actor.
I have no issues with that. But I think this is his time. This is going to be his recognition for defining Kratos, reinventing and putting new life into this character who was all but down and out in terms of an actual character. So what he's done with that, I think is absolutely amazing. We'll talk more about Ragnarok later, but yeah, I think this one goes to him. Ashley Burch is great as always, but nothing crazy. Aloy was just kind of mean the whole game, honestly. So I
think the nice thing about Ashley Burch is, like as we said in God of War Ragnarok, his characters talk a lot.
Yeah.
But in God of War, they can bounce off Mimir and Atreus.
Yeah.
And most of Horizon Forbidden West, it's Ashley Burch talking to herself.
Yeah.
And that is not easy by any means because, you're not bouncing off at anybody. So
it's not easy. It gets tiresome. So.
Yeah. Her telling you not to try and climb this ledge. You can't go there. You can't go there yet. Over and over again, I'm sure is.
Yeah. I mean, Man Engage is kind of a wild card here because, like, I did. Nick told me that they have Immortality on the phone for like games through Netflix, and so I downloaded it and played. I guess you could say played. I watched a video. It was weird. But she was immediately impressive. So there might be something there with that one. But
it's not mocap in that either, is it?
It's not. It's straight up FMV. So you're like literally watching somebody act. And she does a great fucking job. I'll have to show you that spot I again, quotes, played. But I still think Chris gets it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that could be the sleeper because that's definitely the one we just, even in our own experience, we just don't know. So. Yeah. Could be that, but yeah, I'm with you. I think it's Christopher Judge's year. I would, yeah. And that would make me very happy to see him up on stage.
Yes.
For this one. So, all right, and then the final topic, the game of the year. There are the obvious ones here, but there are some interesting ones. Mm-hmm. To no surprise, Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok are both nominated. They are followed up by another Sony exclusive, Horizon Forbidden West, that makes 2 Sony games. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And rounding out, we have A Plague Tale Requiem, Stray, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. If we take those 2 big games out, and as we've said, it is going to be Elden Ring. Without a doubt, unless we haven't finished Ragnarok.
I wouldn't say without a doubt, but I think it's the Vegas favorite.
I wonder if it might be God of War.
That's what I said. It could be, man. I mean, it's got recency bias. It's got
it does.
It's just
it's fresh in everyone's brain.
Yeah, I think Elden Ring wins due to it being really reinventing the open world in such a new, fresh way that just captured the entire video game space by storm. But I wonder, again, if the recency bias will get the people to vote for Ragnarok, and then also if the people who look at this stuff critically, actual critics, they're looking at the experience from top to bottom. God of War, it's just graphically, narratively, performances, gameplay, it's so tight. And Elden Ring is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but it is kind of it's either for you, like Nick, right? You don't want to play it. That's not your kind of style. And I think anybody can play Ragnarok, and and just being much more of a loose kind of explore at your own pace kind of game. People might just vibe with Ragnarok more. I'm not sure, but to answer your original question, besides Elden Ring and Ragnarok, I think it's Horizon, but I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or Plague Tale Requiem.
Right.
And Stray can get fucked. It does not belong here. A 4 to 5 hour experience where you literally can't do anything more than hit X to jump on a ledge does not deserve to be in the game of the year category.
Publications think you're wrong, John.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Is there any snubs here?
I'm looking at the Open Critic list of highest ranked games of the year. I think it's shockingly pretty good. When I saw this list, Nick asked me who. I tried to guess who they were, and I could only get 3. I completely forgot about Xenoblade and Plague Tale, and then Stray was just out of left field. But snubs, maybe Gran Turismo 7. It's always hard for racing games just because it's again so niche, and it also had a kind of a weird launch with some controversy. So I get it not being there, but.
It is nominated in the other category, the best sports game / sim. So
yeah. No, but I mean, Shredder's Revenge, maybe. Other than that, no. I think that's kind of the right choices. I could see Bayonetta 3 being an okay choice. I could see maybe Mario and Rabbids being a right choice. But no, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. And then again, it's not surprising, as we mentioned, no Xbox here.
No.
When you don't release games, you don't get nominated for anything. So.
Yeah, next year. Yeah, they haven't had a exclusive Game of the Year nominee for, I think, 10 years now. So Starfield is their hope to change that next year.
Starfield
we'll see.
And Redfall.
Yeah.
And hopefully some other games. But yeah, next year should be much more interesting. But
yes.
Yep, that is it. So we'll definitely be talking about the Game Awards. I will actually be on vacation the week that they are, so we'll probably talk about it the week after that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching.
Finally getting that Brazilian wax, huh?
Yeah.
Good. You
completely
deserve it.
Hairless.
You deserve it.
Even my eyebrows. All right, so that's it for that. Let's move on to the next topic.
Nick, do I have a problem with buying games before I should buy them. Do you think I have a tendency to buy games before I
I think you have to ask me. I even though I've known you longer, I think even the listeners understand at this point.
They probably do.
That you have poor impulse control.
Yeah, well,
and don't finish games.
I make bad choices, okay? But what I'm going to try and do is spin this into a nice silver lining. PlayStation has just brought in their big Black Friday sale for the year. So I wanted to just kind of highlight some things that I see in there that, people might want to pay attention to, as well as highlight maybe a couple hidden gems that people would overlook otherwise. So, Nick, I know you took a look at the sale. If you want to kind of maybe read off yours first, and then I'll go through mine. Just want to, again, this is more just for informing, there it is, everybody. So, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I have the first two are just two games that just came out in October. Gotham Knights is at 40% off, so you can get that for $42. That's really nice. Yep. And then Plague Tale Requiem, that Game of the Year nominee, which also just came out the same day as Gotham Knights a month ago, is down 20% to $48. Okay. So, Gotham Knights, didn't review too well, but, at 40% off, it might be worth it if you got an opening in your gaming calendar.
That's the key, I think. I think this game is only going to drop probably pretty quickly. So if you want to play this game now, I think that's a fantastic price. If you are playing Ragnarok, you're going to play Callisto Protocol, you're going to play Dead Space, you're going to play... there's a lot of stuff coming out, and you can wait. I think you might see this game in the 20 range in a couple months, but... Yeah, again, pretty good sale for being only out a month.
Yep. And then I also saw Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is down 58% to $29, which is a fantastic deal. Both me and John played that last year. We both platinumed it. It's a great game. I don't know if it's worth the $70, but definitely at this price, I would jump in. It's a great showcase of what the PlayStation 5 can do. And then the next one I saw is the Hazelight bundle. This is A Way Out and It Takes Two for 67% off for $20.
Game of the Year winner, It Takes Two?
Last year's Game of the Year winner.
Wow.
And if you don't know this, your friends play for free. So your friends can download the game, and if you bought a copy of the game, you can invite them to your game and they can play for free. So you both do not have to buy the game, which is actually how me and John played it.
Thank you, Hazelight. That's so nice.
And then I have finally just Kenna Bridge of Spirits is at 50% off at $20. This is kind of that game I just keep forgetting about.
Yeah, same. You're gonna pull the trigger at 20?
Came out last year, exclusive to Sony. I don't know.
It's not gonna dip much lower. I mean, it might get to 15 sometime, but it also could be a streaming game.
And there might be physical editions out there that I could get a used copy for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just somehow keeps being under my radar.
Okay.
So I might check that out. We'll see.
Okay.
I'm busy.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but...
And then also, on top of that, I just wanted to note with PlayStation Plus Extra, any number of these games can be on there at any time, but you would rank up in PlayStation Stars if you bought one.
Oh, get my 50 coins.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so that there's the incentive there, as you'll get some of that money back in coins. So
okay.
What did you notice in this list? Anything good?
Yeah. So firstly, I just wanted to note that Last of Us Part 1 remake's on sale. I think for the first time. So it's about $50 if you didn't want to spend the full $70 on it. Just noting that it does have a sale, $20 off. And then I see Lego Star Wars is on sale for $30. If you're into the Lego games, this has I believe all 9 movies in Lego form. It's a pretty big package. I've always thought they were a little grindy, but wanted to at least note that for people with kids or whoever. My personal probably favorite game of PS5 as of now, not including Ragnarok because I still got to finish it, Returnal is $30. So, if you're a subscriber on the streaming service, you have it for free, or at least, with the extra tier, you have it for free. But if you do not, or whatever the case, this game is absolutely fantastic. If you like fast, frenetic, very tight feeling, amazing controls, all the good stuff, I have nothing but good things to say about that game. Sifu's $28. It's hand-to-hand combat kind of fighting game. It wasn't really much for me, I don't think, but it got a lot of high reviews last year. So that's originally $40. It's on sale for $28.
And it was just nominated for Best Indie Game, so...
Yep, got a Best Indie Game nominee. Another Best Indie Game nominee, Cult of the Lamb, is on sale for $20. Originally $25, so you're not getting a big discount on that, but that is something that I've been having my eye on lately. And then just a couple big hitters here, just in terms of discounts. So Sackboy is actually, I think, at an all-time low at $19.79. Launch title from Sumo Digital, I believe, did it for Sony. But that's a pretty fun game if you're into platformers. I played it with my son. He loved it. And honestly, I liked it too. It's one of those games that can kind of appeal to kids and adults. So I do recommend that.
Where's the platinum?
This game has one of those trophies. I think Titanfall 2 is probably another good example where there's like one trophy that just fucks people out of the platinum, where you have to do like these really hard time trials that are typically like 30 seconds, where you have to like get from start to finish, and it's not that bad, but you have to do like 22 of them back to back to like the whole way through, and it's just insanity. Me and a friend at work, we've tried and failed, and I don't know. I still really want to get it because I think there'd be nothing better than sending him an image of that platinum. So, might get it one day. But and then just a couple other really cheap games. Jedi Fallen Order Deluxe Edition, which is a PS5 version, $7.50. Super cheap if you didn't play that and had any interest.
Get ready for the sequel next year.
Yup. Resident Evil 2 Remake Nick is $12.50.
I did see that. Yeah.
Psychonauts 2, which got nominated for Game of the Year a couple years back, is regular $60. That's on sale for $20. So that might be the one that I pick up because I played a little bit of it on Xbox and was full of great ideas, lots of humor, and was a pretty good time. And then lastly, I wanted to highlight one that's probably not going to be for everybody, but Nick and I both absolutely loved the first one. Nick played the second one and liked that as well. And that's the Danganronpa series, which, for those who don't know, is a Japanese visual novel where you're kind of in this battle royale style situation of a bunch of high schoolers locked in this unknown environment where basically they have to try and kill each other without getting into more details than that. But you get actually Danganronpa 1 and Danganronpa 2 it's called the Danganronpa 1-2 Reload package. I can only see the English price because I already own it, but it's only $6.99 there, so I'm gonna guess it's probably like $7 or $8. If you like weird Japanese shit, highly recommend it. It really surprised me, and I think it surprised Nick too.
Yeah, you just have to get through that first case because that first case had like such a great opening twist.
Yes,
that I loved. I fell in love with that series, and that just reminds me that it has one of the best soundtracks in games.
It does.
We have to feature one of those songs. That'll probably be my song next week.
That's a good idea.
It might be my song next week.
And Monokuma is a great video game character. He is kind of like he's like in charge, but he's a robotic bear, like an evil robotic bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of let people know that there's a big sale out there. Check it out yourself, but some good big games, some good small games. So.
Yeah, and there's going to be sales all over the place. So
yes,
I mean, we saw the DualSense. Out there for $50 now.
Yeah, so if you go to direct.playstation.com, all the colors are $50. So if you want one of the nice blue ones, purple ones, red ones, whatever the case, now's the time.
Yep. So just keep an eye out, and if you've noticed anything, please email us or as long as Twitter's up, DM us that you found it, because we're interested.
Yeah.
Especially John. He has a problem. So if you want to enable him, find
buy
some
all
good
these
deals.
games. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, Psychonauts 2 I'm looking at, and Cult of the Lamb I'm looking at too.
Off topic here.
Huh?
Where do you store your games? Do you have a gaming shelf?
So I have a cabinet that I kind of keep them all in. I've bounced back and forth in my life where I was like, I'm never selling games because I want to just have like a massive wall of games. But then I'm like, no, this is stupid. Like I literally have like Guitar Hero Live and Rocksmith up here. It's like this is dumb. So I have I've really started to prune down my physical collection, notably my videos or my movies. I had over 300 Blu-rays.
Oh my God.
And I decided just to try and get 4Ks and Criterion collections for the ones I actually like. And I'm trying to kind of do the same with this. Is like if it's a game I truly love, like Ragnarok, Returnal, I'm going to keep it and it'll stay in my collection. But if it's not something that I'm going to want to play in 5 to 10 years, I try and get rid of it. So I can usually fit it in a little cupboard underneath my TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious, where do all these games and movies go?
I mean, for somebody who loves physical games, I have a shocking amount of digital stuff just because every indie game is usually bought digitally.
Right.
So most of it is just
Right.
there. But
I didn't think you had very much.
Actually, I counted the other day. I think I have 9 PS5 cases. At
That's
home.
pretty high.
Yeah, it's higher than I thought, but and then if you include like Cyberpunk, which is PS4 game into upgrade, and Tales of Arise, which is another one of those, it's probably a little bit higher. But
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
I have issues.
All right. Well, as long as you're spaced to fit more games.
One day, Nick. One day, I'll be a retired old man playing these games.
All right. So let's move on to another news item. The Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt is getting its PS5 version. It is coming December 14th. This is directly from CD Projekt Red. They say, enhanced with the power of next-gen consoles and modern PC hardware in mind, the upcoming release of CD Projekt Red award-winning role-playing game will feature dozens of visual performance and technical enhancements over the original. These include ray tracing support, faster loading times on consoles, as well as a variety of mods integrated into the experience, among many others. Along with new additional content inspired by the Witcher series from Netflix, these will be covered next week in a dedicated Red Stream event on Twitch, where the studio will present gameplay from the next-gen version of the game. So, The Witcher 3 originally came out in 2015. That was a long time ago.
Game's okay.
Speaking of the Game Awards, it was a Game of the Year winner that year.
Beat Bloodborne.
Yep.
Bastard.
So, yeah, it beat a lot of games. It beat Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh, wow.
Arkham Knight. So that was
Good year.
that was a really good year. So, needless to say, if you have not played this game, it is on sale all the time. I think I bought it again on PlayStation for like $11.
Yeah.
And that is all of them will be upgraded. This will be it. Your time to get in there. I guess the only advice I have is if you don't like the combat, just put it on easy.
Yeah.
And just play through the story, because there's nothing like the story they tell there and the things you'll see. So.
What's the % chance you play this again? Because I know I've said it before, folks. This is in your top 5 games of all time, isn't it?
Probably, yeah. If I was to really think about it, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
I'm sure you'll at least boot it up, check it out.
Because I played through it twice now. I played through it on Xbox and PlayStation. So I don't know, and that's including the DLC. So.
Does this include the DLC? It has to, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So. I don't know, maybe. I mean, we'll see how slow December is, where I'm at as far as games, but at the very least, I might check it out. Might install it and just go and load my save and just go ride around.
Yeah, forget about the sun and what time is it? 2 weeks later.
Yeah, exactly. As I mentioned, it is the platinum that I really want, but again, it requires me to play through the whole game on the hardest difficulty. So.
Ew.
So I don't think I'll be able to do that. So
yeah, there's probably ways to cheese it, but then at that point, are you really enjoying it?
But what about you, John? Are you in for this?
I'm kind of in the same boat, I think, where it's like I want to check it out. I don't know if it'll be something I see from stem to stern. I really liked it when I played it. It was one of those games, I think it took me 3 or 4 tries to like get into it, where it was almost so overwhelming and there's so many damn question marks on that map that I got a little overwhelmed. But once I kind of let go of that and just started not crit pathing it, but because obviously the side quests in this game are fantastic, but like just trying to move forward at a steady pace, really enjoyed it. And even the combat itself, which is typically the one complaint that people have with it, I thought was pretty good when you started to use the what are they, arts? Witcher arts? Or what do they call them?
It's like magic, the signs.
Yeah, so I don't know, because I would have to buy it again though too. I don't have a copy of it, so. But you know me, I got bad impulse control, so if I go to Disc Replay and see a copy for $7, I'm gonna pick it up. But
for PS4, it's got to be really cheap.
Yeah, super cheap. So I don't know, we'll see. But it's needless to say, it's been a long time coming. They've been talking about this for a while, so it's nice to see that CD Projekt Red has another project that we can put behind them, so they can focus on the 18. No, I'm sorry, folks. It's my wife.
Yeah, the CD Projekt Red redemption tour continues with.
Yeah.
They fixed Cyberpunk this year, and now we're getting next gen Witcher. And then, leading into Phantom Liberty, the expansion for Cyberpunk next year. CD Projekt Red, they're winning everyone back.
Trying to.
Yeah.
Trying to. I mean, they need to have a couple really strong launches. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
They're going to be under a microscope every game that comes out from them.
I think if that expansion hits, and it hits as hard as the Witcher 3 expansions did, I think they'll be back.
And then it's broken, and they're like, oh no. Oh no.
It won't be broken.
It won't, but...
Witcher 3 not the Witcher 3, Cyberpunk just got another patch the other week ago, 1.61, so...
Good
it's getting better and better. So, all right. That's all I have to say on that. Let's move on. A little early this time.
It's that time, folks. So yeah, we want to do our. We're on to, I guess you could call it the Sweet 16 of the PlayStation franchise madness. So wanted to go through another 4 matchups here. So that'll leave us with just another week till we get down to the Elite 8. But you ready to pick out some games, Nick?
Yeah, I'm assuming
ready to kill some babies, kill the ones that we don't want to play anymore. I'm done playing with you.
Yeah, hopefully this will get a little harder to think about than the last one.
No, this first one won't be.
Okay.
God of War vs. Spyro. I don't even have anything to say. I mean, with God of War on our minds and as good as it is, I don't see a little purple dragon doing much.
If Ragnarok didn't come out, I mean, it might be close, but yeah, it is God of War.
Yes. Even if there wasn't a 2018 version of God of War, I think God of War would win that. So, God of War, moving on, no problemo. Next one might be a little tricky. I don't know. I don't particularly know what your affinity levels is with these two versus one another, but got a very, very popular PS3 franchise from Sucker Punch, Infamous, versus another big hitter from Sony, Ratchet and Clank. Ooh. Infamous versus Ratchet and Clank. So, do you want to kill people with your superpowers, or do you want to be a little Lombax?
No, this one actually is tough.
Yeah, let's kill some babies, dude.
Because while Ratchet and Clank has more games,
and a newer one, but yeah.
Yeah.
But Infamous is kind of superhero-y, which I know is the easier thing, and open world, and
Yeah,
cool.
Second Light was okay.
Second Son?
Second Son. And what was it? First Light was the expansion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you play them Second Son?
No, I didn't do, because you had to do 2 playthroughs, so I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't do it. What is your choice?
If it were me, it'd probably be Ratchet and Clank, simply because I have such an affinity for that series from my childhood. Like when those, like even when the very first one came out, I think I got it pretty quickly and absolutely adored it, and played every single mainline game since. So for me, it would probably be Ratchet and Clank. I like Infamous a lot. I've played the 3 main games, Platinum's Second Son. Sucker Punch is a great studio, but for me, Ratchet and Clank would edge it a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think it's Ratchet and Clank.
All right. There we go.
Yeah, Rift Apart was so good.
Rift Apart was really good. Really
the whole Rocket Boot section alone was just...
That was the number 1 draft pick in the Fantasy League last year. Very first game selected by yours truly. All right. Now we got another pretty easy one, but, poor Devil May Cry. Poor Devil May Cry has to go up against The Last of Us.
Yeah, it's not even a choice.
I know. Poor Devil, poor Dante. All right, Last of Us, moving on. Setting up that inevitable showdown, I think, with Kratos. We'll see. All right, and then this is kind of a weird one. Got a show coming out for it. It's the weirdest probably show coming from PlayStation, Twisted Metal, versus the first Sony mascot, Crash Bandicoot. So 2 old franchises that kind of had some newer things, but
it's pretty one-sided for me.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
I could go either way. I really, really liked Crash Bandicoot Warped when I was a kid. Other than Crash Team Racing 2, honestly, but Twisted Metal 2 was fun. Twisted Metal 3 was fun, but both of those franchises I don't have anywhere like a close thing for me. So I think if you have strong feelings towards one, it's probably whatever that is.
Yeah, Twisted Metal.
Cool.
yeah. The one franchise I play and I enjoy, the other franchise I play and I do not like. So
Really? You don't like Crash at all?
no.
Okay. To each their own. So there we go. So we got God of War, Ratchet and Clank, Last of Us, and Twisted Metal filling out the first 4 spots of the Elite 8, which that's pretty strong PlayStation branding right there. So makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
And then so we got next week. We got another 4 matchups, and then we'll be on to. It's our final. It'll be our final 4.
Pulling it down to the final 4.
Yeah. I don't know. So
Yeah. Well, this is.
we're almost there.
Yeah. Boy, that went by faster than I thought, but I guess we'll wait till.
Yeah, I mean, what can you really say about Crash Bandicoot, you know? Oh, I just love Coco. Coco's so sexy. Neocortex is such a great villain. Right? There's not a lot you can say.
Yeah, and like I said, I played the Crash Bandicoot that came out this year and bounced off of it on top of all that. So even if I haven't played Twisted Metal in forever.
Yeah. Do you think are they going to make a new game with the release of the show?
I think so. I think with the
there was
rumors of Sony pushing to a live service, and just they have that whatever that Destruction All Stars team maybe.
I think there was a report, and I'd have to go back and check that they were working on it and then got pulled off of it.
Oh, okay. So maybe
which,
somebody else is making
after
it.
Destruction All Stars and then getting pulled off a project. Like, Sony, just don't work with these clowns. Like, you're better than that, but. Yeah, I think it's a perfect game for live service. You can make these cars look as zany and fucking crazy as you want, and I wonder if that genre can live again. I don't know. I really feel like when's the last time a vehicle-driven game has worked? Besides, like, Rocket League doesn't count. Like, it's just
right.
It's like
I think if they can,
we need like more than that now.
If you could get. And I didn't play Destruction All Stars, so I think it kind of did have the classes, the different characters that had different abilities. But it's not the Twisted Metal brand. But I think if you can do the class-based and balance it well, and they somehow all work, Axel, Spectre, all the different cars, if you can get them to work and be fair and fun to play as, I think it can work.
Good choice with Twisted Metal. After you saying Axel and Spectre, I was like, oh yeah, that's good. That's some good stuff.
Yeah, those are some number one. Minion, dude. Some number 1 pick. So
yeah, that's a good one.
If you can get that to be balanced and fun, I think it can work. You know, but yeah, I'm not a game designer, so I think that's.
All right, well, there we go.
All right, so moving on to the games we've been playing. As I mentioned last week, I finished and platinumed A Plague Tale Requiem. As we mentioned earlier, Game of the Year candidate, A Plague Tale Requiem.
Good for them, man. Honestly, though, like when that first game came out, it was very much a sleeper hit, and people were just kind of word of mouthing it into popularity. And this one came out and you know, a lot more attention to it and getting the recognition it deserves. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of shocked. If Microsoft wasn't buying an entire publisher, I would be not surprised they wouldn't buy Asobo, because not only are they working on Microsoft Flight Simulator, but A Plague Tale Requiem is doing that third-person action game that Sony seems to have on lock, and that Microsoft cannot make a single one. That this would have been a great to have in their cap.
Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, they did bring it to Game Pass, so this was a day-and-date release on Game Pass. But the game is pretty excellent. It is one of the prettiest games I've ever played. As I mentioned last week with God of War Ragnarok, I had to play in fidelity mode God of War Ragnarok because I just got finished with this game and it was so pretty. It has a great cast of characters, and there was something funny that I wanted to bring up, is that this game has scenes where you have another companion with you, and then
that's not your brother.
Yeah, that's not your brother.
Okay.
And that you can and then they bring an element of gameplay new to the table. So one of the guys is a knight, so he can go and he can fight anybody, whether they have armor on or nothing. But if he fights like multiple guys, he gets overwhelmed. But you can command him to fight. Okay. So it just kind of introduces a new element. And I was like, oh, that'd be a great thing to bring to other games like The Last of Us, right? Like have a new party member that maybe has a different weapon or a different set of skills or can set traps in a certain way. And then we played Ragnarok, and then they did the same thing.
We got you, fam. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so in God of War Ragnarok, you you can have Brock or Sindri roll with you at certain moments,
Atreus,
and then they bring
Freya.
certain they all bring certain different elements to the game. So I was like, oh fuck, like somebody else thought about this, but I do like it. I think if there was ever, I'm pretty sure we're far away from The Last of Us Part 3, but if they were to do that, it would be cool to mix it up with a companion character that you can integrate into your gameplay experience, because you can direct Ellie to do anything. She was just there,
right?
Or Tess or any of the other side characters. So yeah, it's great. The ending is okay. It's not the strongest ending. It does end in some of the most crazy, like, technical and visual things I've ever seen.
Let me guess, they involve rats.
Yes, they involve rats.
Cool.
Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but yes, it involves rats. The ending covers a topic I wish they would have covered maybe throughout the whole series. But
that's intriguing. I won't ask more questions. Okay.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Black Plague.
But yeah, as I mentioned, the Plague Tale Innocent is essential. You should have gotten it at some point if you've been subscribed for a few years, and I do recommend playing that, or if not, just watching a video and getting into this, because it's great, man. There's a part of the game where you're just given free reign on a whole island, and it is gorgeous. It is beautiful. There's all kinds of things going on, a bunch of unique interactions. It's just, and the performances, like I said, are great, and that's why Amicia, the actress that plays her, who I just read, and then now I am forgetting, Charlotte McBurney. She's great.
Does she have a chance at all to win? Or would it be
No,
okay.
No, I don't think so. Okay. But very, very great that she's nominated. Like, I think, and this game is nominated overall. I think that's putting a lot of eyes on a franchise and a studio that is kind of running under the radar.
Yeah, I wonder if they're almost like upset with themselves, because I believe they've come out and said that this is the final Plague Tale game that they have planned. Mm-hmm. I wonder if shit, we should have tried for a trilogy, because now that game would sell a lot more. But
I won't spoil too much, but there is room for more. So
yeah, I've been hearing that the thing I always hear about this game is how pretty it is. Is it on the same level as Ragnarok, or because that's at this point Ragnarok's probably the prettiest game I've played.
Right.
Is it, or is it just apples and oranges?
I think they're both on the same level. Man, it's really close. It is a very pretty game, but what God of War is doing so much more. With their environments and what you can do and the puzzles. There's a lot more going for it than a Plague Tale Requiem has. Obviously, the budgets are completely different, and Asobo. I think it's only been 3 years since the last game, and
it's quick.
And they've been working on Microsoft Flight Simulator, and the pandemic happened. So
buy them, Microsoft. What are you doing?
So yeah, they continue to prove, and like I said, I bought this game day one. Obviously I bought on store credit that I had. I didn't risk too much of my own money.
The only pre-order.
Yeah. But to pre-order it, enjoy the game, and like I said, going the platinum, in which I mentioned before, you had to go and play through twice, and it was because of that meter that fills up after your combat encounters. I had probably this closest little sliver left to fill on the aggression one, where I just had to kill everybody. Mm-hmm. And then that was the part of the game where you go, I think 3 hours without a single combat encounter.
Come on!
Yeah, I was like, fuck!
I hate that stuff.
Oh!
I hate it.
And I was like, well, and I was pretty happy, because I knew I was going to get it regardless. And again, I enjoy playing the game, so it was fine to get through those. But it was still like, oh my God, I was so close!
Okay.
I was so close. So, yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on what the studio does next.
So, obviously, we'll have Game of the Year discussions between you and I, and I'm assuming God of War is if not leading it, up there. If God of War did not come out this year, do you think that this would be your Game of the Year so far?
So we've just kind of discussed this off the year, but by Game of the Year, you mean game that came out this year that I played? I'll just say that is the yes.
Okay. What have you played not this year that you really, really dug?
Cyberpunk 2077.
That game's not good. Shut up. Okay. All right. Good enough.
Yeah. So yeah, this would beat out Horizon for me.
Cool.
So.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'm excited to maybe play that in 7 years.
So I was going to ask you, like, should I hold on to my physical copy for you, John? And I'm like, I don't think he's going to beat it anytime soon.
I mean, I'm going to leave that up to you. You know, being that you can probably get 35 for it now. I would hate to be a financial burden on you, but you know, if you find yourself itching to take it back. But you know, because I would want to get through Innocence first.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, either way, I want to check them out. But I can see this game, you know, again, if I had willpower and, you know, and things like that, it'll probably come to something in the next 3 years. So
Yeah.
You know, maybe I can wait for that too. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then at that point, I'll be playing, I don't know, Bloodborne 2. Who knows?
Wishful thinking, but you'll be playing something.
Yeah.
All right,
and then the big boy.
So again, we're going to talk about God of War Ragnarok. We are going to have spoilers in here for the story up until where John is.
Yeah.
John is playing at a leisurely pace. He is avoiding side quests, so we won't be talking about those.
Avoiding is not the right word, Nick.
But the game is kind of divided up into sections. It's like a world Atreus section, world Atreus section. John is on the third world. Vanaheim is the realm.
Yes.
So if you do not want to get spoiled from the beginning of the game until Vanaheim, and he didn't even finish it, so halfway through Vanaheim.
No, I mean, I'm about 12 and a half hours in, but like Nick said, I'm kind of crit pathing it. A good benchmark, I think, to kind of know about spoilers is I just fought a beast that protects the world tree is probably like the best way I can phrase that. And I'll get into more detail here in a second, but if you have not fought a large beast protecting the world tree, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Which is kind of right where I was last week when we talked about it.
Okay.
I had just done that. So I don't know if you had a format for this, but I want to definitely cover the story up until that part.
No, I have no format. I have loose thoughts because that's how my brain works.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not very organized.
All right. So where we left off is they went to look for Tyr. As we mentioned in the mine dungeon, you do find Tyr. What did you think of Tyr? He is not a god of war in the typical sense by any means.
No, those were some expectations that were subverted. Like, you know, because only the shot you saw of Tyr but prior to playing the game, right? There was the moment you like kind of see him and he stands up and he towers over you as a giant. So you're like, oh, this guy's intimidating. Is he gonna beat the shit out of me? And then you see a shot of I think him and Kratos like joining arms and like helping each other up. So you like kind of think that he's another badass. But he's not. He is timid. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want anything to do with this. He just kind of wants to be left alone again. And so I think it's a very interesting way to kind of frame the character because he's a part of all these visions and all these prophecies that Atreus keeps running into and kind of, you know, obviously there's so much discussion about like changing your fate and things like that. So, you know, is Tyr going to turn himself around and regain some of that fire that led him to be the god of war? Or is he going to kind of take a back seat and just maybe be more of a brains that could help them from afar type character? But I thought he was interesting. I thought he, you know, the voice actor did a good job. He, you know, was not what I was expecting, and so I was kind of interested to see where his character was taken.
Yeah, I think the interesting part and probably the disappointing part to Atreus is that he is exactly like Kratos. They have both been God of War for a very long time, have seen their fill of war, and since just are done with it.
Yeah.
Like they don't want it. They've seen enough bloodshed. And there's kind of a lot of themes with older people versus younger people. When you're younger, you're definitely a lot more passionate about things. You're much more fervent and and aggressive. And then the older people who kind of, though the world has worn them down, or you don't have that same level of energy, is kind of like, well, let's not take this as much. So as you travel with Tyr through Alfheim, which is the next realm in the game, and which was in God of War 2018, this is the realm of the light and the dark elves. You can see Atreus getting little disappointed as him and Kratos kind of bond more than more than Atreus does with Tyr. So
well, yeah, because I mean, Atreus. The whole reason for finding Tyr, right, is to for him to teach Atreus, like, you know, how to be a giant and getting to the prophecy that he seems to think is guaranteed to happen. And yeah, it's just bummer after bummer where he's kind of like, you know, there's one line that Atreus asks where he's like kind of upset with himself and Kratos, I think, because, you know, in the previous game they came to Alfheim and just assumed that the light elves were the ones who were right, or, you know, in this conflict that they have. And when, you know, he kind of has this comment to Tyr, or it might have just been to anybody, where he goes, shit, did we pick the right side? And Tyr goes, well, I don't think you're asking the right question. He's like, who is the right side? And it's just kind of, it's more of an adult way of looking at a situation where younger people jump to conclusions and kind of assume that they know best. And those people who have been around and seen it all and like kind of seen how, you know, different sides can react to things. You know, you kind of got to caution yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, because in the events of the first game, you freed the Light Temple from the Dark Elves, including you. Then they bring up his name. I'm gonna butcher his name. Like the general of the Dark Elves who you kill, who says that you're doing it for the wrong side, and as you find out, as you kind of find out that that's kind of the case, as you know, nobody likes you. The Light Elves are attacking you.
Oh my god!
And then eventually the Dark Elves are attacking you.
So I got this Svartoljofr.
So. And then I think from a gameplay perspective, this is where they introduce the reflection mechanic, where you can bounce the axe off of those like colored gems, and then they for whatever reason they infuse the axe with more power, and it can now cut through things.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
You don't like that?
No, I don't like that. I thought it was kind of It was fine. Did you like it?
Oh boy, John, I have some bad news for you.
I mean, it's fine. I don't hate it, but like when you're trying to figure out a puzzle and like literally the answer is just like, okay, does my beam turn blue or purple? Right? Because when you have the axe locked onto the target you need to, your line of your aiming, think of a laser sight, it changes color. And so it's just like, all right, well, I got it. Here it goes. And so it doesn't, you know, and it just kind of got frustrating. There were some points where I was like, fine, spin it, go try it. Nope. All right, go back. Spin it. Nope, try it. Nope, go back. All right. And now I got it. So I don't know. A little, not my favorite part of the game, I guess.
Sure. And well, like I said, there's going to be some side quests in Alfheim that are going to even have more intricate ones of those. So buckle up.
It reminds me of like a laser puzzle, you know, like in Portal or something like that, where you have to bounce lasers to 4 different sides and then it gets to where it needs to go. It's fine.
And I think that's pretty much it. They show Tyr another one. They find another one of those cabinets, see another one of the prophecies. Tyr is not happy about seeing that prophecy because he doesn't want to do it.
Well, that's a big prophecy, man, because that's the one that kind of shows Atreus and Kratos that there is a path through Ragnarok that doesn't involve the complete destruction of everything, right? It's, you know, Groa, I think was the name of the god person, whatever, that kind of had this prophecy and didn't tell the entire truth. So they saw that there's a way to separate Asgard, which would, you know, effectively solve their Odin problem, solve their Thor problem. So it's kind of, you know, obviously I could be wrong, but it seems like it's kind of setting up, hey, this is our mission for the game. This is what we're trying to get towards. And Tyr, we need your help. And Tyr's like, fuck you. And he goes back to his room and he sulks. And
well, basically Ragnarok would just destroy Asgard. The other 8 realms would be fine.
Yes.
So yep. Continue on. So we got sulking Atreus.
Sulking Atreus, well, it's sulking Tyr. And so is this when it goes into our favorite part of the game so far?
Yeah, this is what I teased, the Guarma moment of the game. I'm so glad that, John, you knew, you figured it out, and you felt the same way, because Atreus goes to lay on the bed and wakes up in Ironwood, which was mentioned in the prophecy. I forget what the specifics were.
Well, in Jormungandr, the big snake, he that's the one word he says to Atreus.
Oh, that's
when
right.
he goes and sees Atreus, and you know, it's like Ironwood. Ironwood, what does that mean? And so Atreus goes to sleep and he has these visions, and it seems like initially, right, he's like in dreamland, as you would expect.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he wakes up and he's in a crazy place with a person I don't know, and I'm like, okay, I'm still dreaming, obviously, right?
Well, yeah, he's following a bunch of wolves.
Right. So yeah, I'm doing all these weird things, and like, oh, I guess I get, after doing it for, I don't know, 30 minutes, I was like, I guess I'm not. I guess this is where I'm at now. And so yeah, you meet a character, Angerboda. Yeah. Who you can tell immediately provides the love interest for Atreus. She's kind of got this responsibility where she is a part of this prophecy, and she's been waiting a long, long time for Loki in this situation to show up so that she can basically hand off her piece of the fate of, or whatever, the prophecy to Atreus for him to take it from there.
She's another giant.
Yes. And it's interesting. I think it's a good narrative piece of the puzzle. I think it's all good to introduce new characters, and she has an interesting story. But you just spend way too much time in this area. You are just riding this yak, which is cool because it's a cool yak, but like I don't know. It's literally just seems like you're on this slow roller coaster ride for like 2 hours where you're just getting a little bit of exposition with a payoff that is a good payoff, because eventually you kind of find out that Angerboda has been guarding these little balls, right? And these little balls that have names of different giants on them. And what she tells Loki is that these balls contain the souls of the giants who basically were fleeing from Odin because Odin was going to kill them all because this would solve Ragnarok for him.
Right.
And so you kind of learn, okay, well, I can see where this is going. Atreus is trusted with these things. And there's been this talk of like how he's the father of the world serpent. He's the father of all these different animals. And what he does with one of these balls, because Angerboda's like, I don't know what you're supposed to do with these, but I was told when you have them, you'll know what to do. He's like, okay, I got this. And so he finds like I don't even know if the snake was dead.
You're getting ahead.
Okay, go ahead. You fill me in. I don't remember. I was probably just trying to get through.
Yeah, after doing the farming simulator with Angerboda of riding the yak and getting things, clearing out pests. You see a wolf. The wolf is captured and dragged away. Angerboda explains that her grandmother. Gryla is kidnapping the animals and stealing their souls so she can feel again.
She can like experience what they experience.
Yeah, experience what they experience. And so Atreus accompanies Angerboda into her house, and that's where they find a snake with its soul removed.
Right. They have that gray, glossy-eyed thing. Right?
Yeah. And then, as John mentioned, using the little bag of balls with souls in it. This is very weird.
Balls.
He inserts a soul into the snake. The snake wakes up and slithers away. John, this is 100% the world serpent.
Yes. Yep, Nix, you said that. Yeah, of course. How could it not be? That's kind of one of the big questions that we've been trying to answer between the first and the second game is there's this obvious time-skippy weird thing going on. And so is Ironwood in present day? I don't know, because Atreus didn't fucking leave anywhere. He was in his bed. So it's like he went to this ethereal realm. So like, does that have the same timeline that Atreus' world does or that Midgard does? And we don't know, but I could see that becoming a thing. If he has the ability to infuse souls with beings, it could solve a Fenrir problem. Mm-hmm. It could solve a Kratos losing his, having to get his soul taken out and put back into something problem. So that is obviously a major part of the story. It's just... Oh, and also, before we get away from it, the Gryla fight was pretty dope. Like, you're fighting... It felt like an old-style God of War fight again, where you're kind of fighting a very large, much, much, much larger than you creature. And she's like...
She actually fits the giant description.
Yeah, she's huge. Yeah, she's at least, 10 times taller than Kratos, right? So you're kind of doing this weird fight. And the fight itself is, it's not that great, but... It just provided a good feeling of variety, again, that I thought was lacking from the 2018 version.
Yeah, it was a God of War fight. Like, you had to blow up her pot.
Blow up her. No, my pot! And then once you kill her, or you don't kill her, I'm sorry, once you win the fight, she just verbally abuses the shit out of Angerboda. It's kind of sad, honestly. So this whole... I get the point of this area it just was too long. It was probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Again, the only thing that really moved the narrative forward was knowing these ball things, and I guess so they wanted to get the love interest going. They wanted to do all of that.
Yeah, there was one thing we did miss is that Angerboda is the one that paints the murals, and on one of the rocks is the mural we saw in 2018 where Kratos is dead. Mm-hmm. And upon seeing this,
that's a big thing that we missed.
Yeah. And then it shows Atreus being with his hand on Odin's hand on Atreus' shoulder, like he's embracing him, and this has caused Atreus to get emotional and turn into a wolf. Mm-hmm. I believe this is also where we unlock his basically Spartan Rage ability, in which you click in both the left triggers with Kratos, you get all crazy, you get healing, and you
click in the thumbsticks.
Yeah, click in the thumbsticks.
Yep.
With Atreus, he turns into a wolf. It's pretty sweet. It's not the greatest gameplay. I don't think Spartan Rage is the greatest gameplay.
I don't either. I honestly never like using it.
I only like it because it heals you. I think that's
exactly.
the best reason to use it. But
are you talking about the second one that you get, like Valor, or like
just even the standard one heals you. So
right.
So yeah, it's.
But I will say, this section did provide me maybe my favorite moment. It's a quick moment, but it might be my favorite moment of the game so far. Is the entire time I'm in this realm, because Kratos is such an imposing figure, and you're playing as Atreus in this moment, you kind of feel like, yeah, he's my dad. I need to not piss him off. And so I'm like, the entire time, I think we all have that same feeling of like when you snuck out of the house at night and you're like, oh, I hope they don't know. Fuck, they might know right now though. And so like Atreus is getting ready to go back and he opens the portal, and the fucking moment the portal opens up, Kratos just walks through and says, what were you thinking? It's like, it was such a scary, like, don't hurt me, dad moment. And I really, really, really enjoyed that. But yes, that I was not happy to, or not upset to leave there.
Especially because the portal animations are pretty scripted.
Yeah.
And Atreus wakes up. He wakes up in their normal home, goes to go through the door. Yeah. And like you said, the animation plays out. You've done this 100 times.
Yeah, you're not expecting it.
But just to have a guy come through, and of course he's not anyone. He's Kratos. It's just like, yeah, you really felt like a bad boy there.
Right. Right.
But you can't really experience it for long because a Valkyrie shows up, and this cues a pretty fun fight, pretty reminiscent of our Valkyrie fights in 2018. What did you have any thoughts on this fight other than?
No, I thought this was I know you mentioned there's 12 style Valkyries in this game. I thought that was the first of whatever that was going to be, but no. Yeah, I mean, it felt like a Valkyrie fight, and with a reveal at the end being Freya, and it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah, and I forget what Kratos says to her. This is probably more fresher in your mind of how he convinces her not to kill him. I mean, I know they share the hatred for Odin, but basically he convinces her to join forces, that he will help remove the curse that keeps her in Midgard.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I smoke too much, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's definitely not easy because the next section of the game is you travel to Vanaheim with Brock and Freya, and a lot of the side conversations as you're playing through the game, running into explodey plants.
Explodey plants.
As them both coming to terms with a very similar past, dead children, God manipulation, God betrayals, as they kind of they're starting to form a bond. You can get the sense of it. And Vanaheim is Freya's home. Mm-hmm. It's a jungle realm. We have not been there yet. Similar to Svartalfheim. It's a pretty cool area. Did you have any thoughts on?
No, I mean it's cool. I think what this game is doing pretty a good job of that I didn't really take too much consideration when with the first one is it was a very small cast of characters in the first game. You had Freya, you had Baldur. But you every time you came across somebody, they were by themselves, right? Whether it's Mimir on the top of the mountain, whether it's Jorgenmander being a big snake in the lake. No, there wasn't collections of people really anywhere. So it was really cool when you kind of went into Freyer's camp. and just see this ragtag group of people who, obviously, it reminded me a lot of Game of Thrones, like Beric Dondarrion, right? This group of like rebels that are trying to right a wrong, or I don't know, fight the man, whatever the case, whatever they want to do. And so I haven't really had a chance to talk to those people all that much.
Yeah, you accidentally run into this group, and they are run by Freyr, who is Freya's brother.
Yep.
And as John mentioned, they're a ragtag group. There's a light and dark elf. There's a dwarf with a giant dog. There's a sweet guy with a crazy sword with a bunch of runes on it.
Yeah.
They seem to be a bunch of guerrillas still fighting a war against Asgard. Once they realize that you're with Freya, they allow you to pass. You kind of go even further to try again to remove this curse. And I don't think there was anything revelationary. Again, they're healing.
No, it was kind of cool because, Atreus wasn't with you at the time. So Kratos had some one-on-one time with Freya. And they had a lot of back and forth of, obviously, they have a very similar past experience that was horrible for them, right? The losing their children. And Freya, starts out the conversation like, you have no idea what it means to lose. And he's like, you're fucking right, I do. He's like, I had a daughter, I killed her. What? And so it was kind of cool to listen to Kratos talk about his past like that, his past, the Roman past that we all know. And they got, a little bit of, I think, a little bit more understanding with one another during that scene. And then it kind of ends with probably thus far the coolest boss fight, I think, that I've experienced in the game, which is what I mentioned a little bit earlier, of the Nidhogg, or Nidhogg, I believe is the pronunciation, Norse pronunciation, which is this snarling, big, dragony, snaky, crazy, lizardy-looking beast that protects the World Tree. That you have to go through this big fight with, where he's like opening up portals and like trying to stab you around the arena. And and again, gameplay-wise, I don't think it did anything revolutionary, but it felt like the big God of War fight that really, if like Uncharted is defined by its set pieces, which I really think it is, like God of War was defined by its boss fights, and so that is what was missing with 2018, and I'm so happy that it seems like they're fixing it. Hopefully there's a couple more of those, throughout the game.
Yeah, you did fight that mini boss.
Yeah, it was like Odin,
the scythe guy.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. He was fine. He was just like a humanoid creature.
Yeah, but he was still again continuing the trend of cool mini bosses, and then Nidhogg being this crazy like fight. He's teleporting everywhere. Freya's helping you in this battle, and you just barely come out with the skin of your teeth. But of course, you brutally murder this thing at the same time. You rip it. Oh, she closes the portal on it. Dude. On his head. So lops his head off.
It was very much like what was it, Thor Ragnarok, right? With the very beginning when that dragon's chasing Thor. Yeah. And like the Bifrost cuts its head off. It was like that's opposite, where you saw the carcass, not the head.
Yeah.
But still pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's I think this, as I mentioned with Gorma, I think this section kind of really starts picking up the actual momentum of the story. And I don't know where you left off.
It was like right there, like I beat that fight, and then I decided I was ready to go to bed.
Okay, all right. Well, then we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is kind of where the story's really gonna start picking up. More characters are getting introduced, as you mentioned, Freyr, and these other characters in the God of War universe is starting to feel a little bigger and not so isolated as it has in the past. You got Angerboda, you got Gryla. Fucker. You're getting, and more and more pieces are getting on the table that it's like I really don't know what's gonna happen. Like there's a lot to be said here, and just so much.
But yeah, I mean, it's fucking great, man. Like I said, is it going to be Elden Ring? I don't know. But one small thing that I've kind of started to notice, or that I've like really focused on with the gameplay side of things, is I really enjoy. I'm a sucker for incremental upgrades, I guess. Like that's one of the reasons I like Ratchet and Clank so much. If you use a weapon, the weapon upgrades itself. Mm-hmm. And this game has a really fun system, in my opinion, where every single skill that you can, well, not every skill, but a majority of the skills you can unlock it has a counter for every time you use them. And if you use them enough, it's going to unlock into the gold tier. And once you get there, it gives you 3 different choices to buff that ability, whether it's damage,
stun,
elemental, stun, or momentum. It depends on the move. But I think that's really cool because it allows you to fight differently and, do that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's a reason to try more and more. So. So we'll leave it there because God of War Ragnarok will keep coming up. In fact, with the holiday, Thanksgiving next week here in the States, it might be all God of War Ragnarok next week because there's going to be a slow news week.
Yeah, and unfortunately we have families to deal with, so,
So it might be a quick God of War special again, no format. Because I don't unless you got something else you want to tease here.
No.
Okay. But hopefully, John, if John can get more and more God of War, man, there's so much I want to talk about. And if John can just play a few more hours, we have a big part to talk about.
You hear that, Kylie? Do you hear that?
Yes, let John play his game. So, all right. Well, that's 6 things.
Boom.
John, what song are we leaving them on?
A classic, Nick. A bona fide video game classic.
Okay.
Still Alive from Portal. The ending credit song that everybody loved when it came out. Caught the internet on a storm.
Yeah.
It's a little bop. It's a good one.
It plays at the end of the original Portal, right?
Yes, GLaDOS sings it. It's great.
Yeah, it's a good song. So we'll leave you on that. Again, stay warm during Fimbulwinter. Play God of War Ragnarok. And again, if you have any questions about the game that don't spoil it for us, we'll happily answer them. But and expect more God of War Ragnarok for the rest of the year.
Boom.
So,
Yes.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see ya.
We love you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here, huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. Aperture science. We do what we must because we can. For the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake. And the science gets done and you make a neat gun for the people who are still alive. I'm not even angry. I'm being so sincere right now. Even though you broke my heart and killed me and tore me to pieces and threw every piece into a fire. As they burned, it hurt because I was so happy for you. Now these points of data make a beautiful line, and we're out of data, we're releasing on time. So I'm glad I got burned. Think of all the things we learned for the people who are still alive. Go ahead and leave me. I think I prefer to stay inside. Maybe you'll find someone else to help you. Maybe Black Mesa. That was a joke.